All right. Well, before we go any further, we apparently the stars have shined upon us again. Uncle Dave has blessed us with his reviews of the most recent AEW pay-per-view WrestleDream. If you're in a dream that lasts that long, I think it's a medically induced coma. But Dave, as he does every month, has chosen to rate these things. I'm glad he's not the guy reviewing restaurants, or Ptomaine would be as big as the Black Death was in the Middle Ages. Oscar's Greasy Spoon Diner, 5 stars for the clams. But Brian, do you have the latest emission?
I do.
So you haven't had those 5-star clams?
I only see these clams here. I can only talk about the clams in front of me.
Well, you better not clam up about them clams, I'll tell you. Well, you're looking awful clammy, though.
I'm feeling it too.
You have clams in your lap there from Uncle Dave about the AEW pay-per-view, the star ratings, and normally we try to go by what his thinking is by each match, but in this case, I will interject with just random thoughts, but I'm going to save my overall comments for the end of this because I'm starting to sense, I know you'll find this hard to believe, Brian. I'm starting to sense a pattern in some of Uncle Dave's AEW reviews, but go ahead. What does he have to say?
Well, Jim, we will first start with the pre-show, which you and I did not see because we watched the pre-show that they gave us, which was a different pre-show than whatever the other one was with the matches. I don't know where that
Apparently now the pre-show is on TNT.
On TNT on cable?
Apparently now, at least this one was. I just heard that, so they got that going for them.
Did they announce that in advance?
I don't. They announced so many things. Is this the show that you have seen in your life that has more graphics and more match announcements and more lists of things to come and etc. than anything you've ever seen before? But nevertheless,
so let's get to it. AEW WrestleDream in St. Louis. Let's go to this, the opening match from the pre-show, which we did not see. Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac defeated Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Tomohiro Ishii. 4-star match.
Well, with an all-star lineup like that, why would you expect anything else? So the opening cold 8-man tag for no apparent reason on the pre-show equals Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat or Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. As I said, I'm going to save my comments, but just now that we've established that baseline.
Well, Jim, that was 15 minutes, 57 seconds. The next match went 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Hook and Eddie Kingston defeated Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. There was no rating given to this. Not much to this, just a basic TV squash.
Well, okay, but they went 3 minutes and did something, took a bump or two. Now, if you don't do enough moves to meet the threshold, he's not even going to rate the match, whether it's you have a complete match or not.
Well, we'll see if that happens again. Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron defeated Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. 12 minutes, 14 seconds. 2 3/4 stars.
Boy, howdy. What, did one of their breast implants fall out and fucking land in the first row? How could they possibly score that low on the Meltzer scale? Are they're not friends with anybody?
I'm not sure. But Jim, the final pre-show match, which I guess is also the first match of the main show.
Yeah.
FTR defeated Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. 12 minutes, 23 seconds, 4.5-star match.
Oh, Christ.
Followed by Jamie Hayter defeating Tekla, 15 minutes, 36 seconds. I thought this was a train wreck. 3.25 stars.
That's so now 3 stars is train wreck level. And the other one's got 2.5 or whatever. That shows you where they were at.
Jack Perry and Luchasaurus defeated the Young Bucks 23 minutes, 8 seconds for an alleged $500,000. 4.75 stars.
Oh, come on now.
That's as good as 5.
All right. All righty then.
I know you're saving your big thoughts for the end. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP defeated Ricochet and Toa Leona and Bishop Khan in a tornado match to earn a shot at the Trios title. 13 minutes, 25 seconds. 3.75 stars. Very good match, Dave said.
Very good. From what I recall of what I said, based on what I saw, I said, boy, howdy, I love Shelton and Lashley and MVP, but this thing is brutal to watch in some points. And I don't believe that you were disagreeing with me. And those heels just ain't got it. As Ernie Ladd would say to Bill Watts, you boy just don't have it. But nevertheless.
Well, Jim, Kyle Fletcher defeated Mark Briscoe 24 minutes, 44 seconds. 4.75 stars. Once again, as good as 5.
Just as good.
Chris Statlander defeated Tony Storm 16 minutes, 32 seconds. 4-star match.
Oh, come on now.
Followed by Mercedes Moné defeating Mina Shirakawa to win the Ring of Honor Interim Women's TV Championship. 3.25 stars. Jim, a match you were anticipating. Bandito and Brody King, collectively known as Brodito, defeated Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada.
Oh, boy.
27 minutes, 28 seconds. 5-star match. Just an incredible match. Long, never dragged, tremendous storytelling, and tremendous moves, as well as something of a surprise finish, with Bandito pinning Okada, who is almost always protected from losing. So Dave really liked it.
All right, go ahead. One more.
2 more.
2 more.
Adam Page defeated Samoa Joe 19 minutes, 1 second. 4.25 stars. And finally, Darby Allin defeated Jon Moxley in an I Quit match. 26 minutes, 2 seconds. The only thing I heard say I quit was Amazon Prime during that match. 4.25 stars.
Oh, boy. All right, Brian, you are not only old enough to remember, but you've seen back issues of Uncle Dave's writings. And he at one time was a tremendous fan and disciple of Bill Watts's work. Bill Watts's booker. He would hold everything up to the Bill Watts standard, Mid-South Wrestling, however, and he would talk to other old-time promoters, and he would write pieces where he would explain how Sam Muchnick felt this might damage the business, or this great booker would use this type of logic. And it seemed like that he had somewhat of a grasp on right versus left, up versus down, north and south, whatever poles that you care to use. And I'm sorry, but people change in many ways. Yes, you can change your opinions on people or things based on ongoing events or things that you learn. But Brian, does what makes sense to you as a human being, what is logical, what is even right from wrong, but just sensible and rational and reasonable, A plus B equals C, Does that change no matter how old you get, unless you end up getting dementia?
Well, part of Dave's argument is that you always have to learn. You always have to be ready to learn. And I think sometimes he interprets learning as just accept whatever the youngest person around you thinks they should do. Because all of a sudden it became history be damned. What everyone's doing
Well,
now.
I don't know if it's the young people or if it's his friends' people, because there are people of varying ages involved in this thing. But that's the problem, is that Dave, he has to be so mortified that his friends that he put so much faith in, that he thought were, and you are our friends, whether it be the Cucamonga kids and their gang that petted him and made over him, or Tony Khan that made a big deal out of reading the Observer and learning things, and Dave makes a big deal out of how much he learned. And they got the chance and they weren't up to putting it together, which was the projection, and the projection came true. Tony Khan had the money to be a promoter and the will to do it, and in that effort has been successful because he spent enough money to be able to get some back. But as a booker, it's been a mess because he learned mark shit. That Uncle Dave, as he got older, got more involved in the minute niche market subculture mark shit. And his friends, the in-ring part of the equation, weren't up to putting on a show or being the stars of a show of this magnitude. They were good in fucking, where was it, Reseda, in a building with 400 people in it, but that didn't translate. But that's the thing, is he at one point, Dave prided himself on recognizing all these details about why that this style of booking was so successful, Bill Watts and the logical sports-based presentation. And then for the past however many years since his buddies promised us that, but instead did an SNL-based presentation, he's trying to will into existence the idea that they've produced a good product and have built anything up. And in the process, he can't bring himself to honestly look at these matches. If you count the number of moves they pull off with varying degrees of success, yes, there are multiple star matches. But if you look at the lack of logic in the booking and the loopholes in the psychology of the matches and the bullshit and fake looking execution of some of it, at the sake of being able to get to the next big stunt, and the over repetition of the next big stunts, and the constant furniture and the constant floor and the constant sameness of everything, then if he thinks that I review this stuff harshly, I could only imagine what he would think if he was standing in the locker room listening to Bill Watts critique the fucking roster, if it was his roster to critique, which Dave has never had that experience. He talked to Watts when Watts was being professional, talking to some type of budding industry journalist, and not your boss telling you what you fucked up about his show.
Bill Watts, Paul Bosch, whoever it may be, talked to Dave to try to educate him on things. If he was going to do what he was going to do, they wanted him to understand a little bit about maybe history, but also just about the lessons, what you're supposed to do, why you do things, the excuses, whatever it may be. The relationship with Dave and Tony is completely reversed. Dave is literally the person Tony went to and said, hey, I want to start a wrestling company. Who should I hire? That's how Chris Harrington got his job. That's literally what happened. The first person he went to was Dave. And Dave has access to Tony all the time. And I could tell you that Tony has waited on Dave's thoughts on things because they affect what he does. That's why Dave sometimes lashes out when Tony doesn't do what Dave wants him to do, because Dave has never had this kind of influence on a wrestling company, whether he admits it or not. And this is his style of wrestling. He gives it the best stars he's ever given anything. He gives it better stars than he gave New Japan.
Well, that's because now it's 7 stars in Daly's place.
You know, I don't want to talk about Dynamite too much now. We'll talk about it later, but there's no one there. There's small crowds compared to AEW going to any of these markets previously. And they're not pricing people out like WWE is. They have no stars. And then you watch the wrestling, and I'll save it for later, Jon Moxley. Anyone who tells their readers that he's comparable to Terry Funk like Dave does, if you watch his work and you actually just watch it on mute and try to figure out the psychology of it, you realize how lost all of his matches are. They're terrible, and his work is terrible. And yet there's a fan base that want to insist he's one of the best of our time. There's a big disconnect. And these guys, again, Dave has direct access to Tony in a way he's never had it with any other promoter. He had access to Vince at different times, but it wasn't Vince going to him for advice. It wasn't Vince saying, hey, Dave, I just want to get your thoughts on this and this. Vince had motives. Tony sits under Dave's fucking learning tree.
Oh, God.
That's the reality.
The problem is there's some root rot.
Well, that was AEW WrestleDream or AEW Root Rot.
You know, I hate to say it, but the poop is getting deep in here, Brian. It may be time for me to put my boots on. I just want to make sure that I don't mess up my nice pant legs with all the deep doo-doo that we have been dished by Uncle Dave. But fortunately for everybody, I won't have to worry about that. And now you don't either, folks, because if you got to walk through poop, you better have your Brunt workwear boots on. Because our friends at Brunt, I'm telling you what, Brian, I'm throwing away the copy. Normally, I read the advertisements exactly as they are
get
written.
The hell
you
out
can
of
testify
here.
to this.
I will not testify to that in any way. No, I will not.
No, I'm religious about sticking to the copy, but I don't need to here because these are the best boots that I have ever had. I've been wearing them when the Monroes come over and we work out in the yard. I get tired before they do. Well, they get tired about the same time I do, but I can quit. They can't. But I've been wearing my boots. The Brunt I got the Marin boots, but they're the high top. They lace up. They were comfortable right out of the box. I mean, and I got feet that are flat. You cannot slide a credit card in between the floor and any part of my foot. It's like the rocks in the pyramid. And normally boots, it's uncomfortable to walk in, but these things, they got the cushion in them. They're nice and soft. They fit well. They didn't give my heel or my big toe with the bunion blisters like the other boots I've had. I remember the last pair of boots that I said I was working out the yard with, and the daggum sole came loose, and I had to duct tape it around the toe. I looked like I was working the Kansas City territory. You ain't got to worry about it. You'd stick this thing in a wood chipper to get the sole to come off of this thing. They're waterproof. I can go down to the creek. I can get on my hands and knees and muck around and weeding in the mulch beds, and I don't have to worry about my feet getting wet. And they're just swell. I've never had, I only buy a pair of shoes once every 10 years or so, Brian. I think I've mentioned this to you. Because that one time in Connecticut 30 years ago, I got a dozen pair on clearance and I wore them for fucking 20 years. But these shoes make me happy. Normally it's just something to cover your feet up. But the Brunt workwear boots make me happy. Have you been out there climbing those trees and taking chainsaws to your bushes in your Brunt workwear boots?
I mean, I don't do those things, but I've been out in my Brunt boots, my workwear boots. I may not be doing the work. I may just be admiring the work that the other people did.
So you put work boots on to go out and look at the work that other people did. That's how removed from regular old fucking Americanism you are.
There might be mud.
There might be.
Got to protect yourself, and you have to do it with comfortable boots for comfortable feet. And we could certainly say you love yours. You know the name of yours. I don't know the name of mine. I know that I love what I have.
Well, why didn't you name them when they came out of the box? They could be your Freds or your Georges.
My Freds from Brunt are incredible. By the way, that's not the name of their thing. Their boot, as it's called.
Well, we don't know what they named their thing. What are you talking about? You're just taking this into the gutter. Whatever the name of their thing is, the Marin boots are good. The Omen boots are good. They're not an omen like Damien 666 is coming to fucking take over, but the OHMAN, which is named after, this company was started by these folks, Eric Gerard and his friends who started Brunt Workwear when the big brands hadn't changed anything in 100 years about the work boots. And boom, they got real hardworking tradesmen and people like me who hate hard work but like getting out in the yard and mucking around in mud. They're the most comfortable work boots that you could ever wear, and you're not going to get your feet hurt because they're just heavy duty and don't throw bricks at your feet now. We tested that out with one of the Monroes. He put one of the boots on and started throwing bricks at his feet. He hurt himself pretty bad. So don't do that.
Again, don't do that, I think is the thing.
Don't do that.
Stress there, yeah.
Yes, but folks, once again, Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up, so they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. And I'll tell you kick a son of a bitch in the head with one of these, he'll know it and remember it for a while. Actually, he may not remember anything for quite some time, if ever, once he comes off the machinery, because you kick a son of a bitch in the head with one of these, it's like Ron Wright loading his boot in the Knoxville Civic Coliseum.
Once again,
like you may have seen on the news, there's an epidemic of construction workers in certain American cities tapping their toes on the ground behind them 3 times and then kicking a son of a bitch they worked with in the head.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tiger Dot.
But right now.
No. There we go. Once again, do not kick people. And let's talk about kicking dirt, kicking grass, kicking tall grass. Shit. That's right.
If you want to be a shit kicker like me, for a limited time only, our listeners are going to get $10 off at Brunt. When you use the code JCE at checkout, you go to Brunt, B-R-U-N-T. Just imagine it's, well, I can't even
Brunt,
say that.
B-R-N-B-R, I misspelled it now, B-R-U-N-T, Brunt.
Yes, it sounds just like other things. Bruntworkwear.com. That's where you go.
Take it down!
Don't hurt yourself, and you use the code JCE, and you are good to go. And after you order, they're going to ask you where you heard about Brunt, so please tell them it was from us. Don't tell them anything else we said. Just tell them we told you to go there and get this and do these things, and you're going to get $10 off. Bruntworkwear.com. Use the code JCE.
Yeah, seriously, these are sick. Get them. Promo code JC.
Well, no, they're not sick. Well, they have no germs. They're not carrying anything.
I mean sick in the cool way. I mean sick in the street way.
Well, I don't want to use the word sick because then these boots are not going to put anybody in their basement.
I think my favorite line ever from Seinfeld, because it's like a character is only in a couple of episodes. is when they're fighting over the parking spot. And I think the guy's name was Mike. Jerry found out that Mike said he was a phony. And he confronts him on it. He goes, "You called me a phony?" And he goes, "No, I meant it in a good way." And he said, "Give me an example." And the guy goes, "Man, that Michael Jordan, he's so phony." It's my favorite line. But that's right. I don't know how we got here, but Brunt.
Yes, Brunt.